Pentagon's land post. So
We did lose the engine on takeoff one time, and
Oh my.
they couldn't build the prop in time, and it was windmilling. And co-pilot had to hold both foot on right rudder, and really had a hard time flying the ship. And it was foggy, and we didn't find any place to land for hours.
really,
We finally landed in France.
did you know you were in France? Or did
Yeah,
pilot know you were in France?
the navigator couldn't find this place. And I said, well, what's wrong with that field right down there? I saw a hole in the cloud, and we went down. And we stayed there a week.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you get up to in France?
Well, we couldn't fly the plane, and they had to send Captain Nevis after us in a C-47.
Did you get out in the villages in France, any?
Oh yeah,
Find any?
it was in Crevedor,
Okay.
and they had a lot of barnyards around the house. They used wooden shoes like they did in Holland, I think, when they go out to the barn or wherever.
Did you on your time off, other than the flat house, did you get on your bike and ride around?
Oh yeah, yeah. We'd go to that pub and play dartboard. And
Did you have any of the English boys or kids come in your barracks or anything?
no.
You didn't have anybody doing your laundry locally?
No.
So how did you all do your laundry? Did you do it with gasoline?
We use 100-octane gasoline.
So what was the purpose of using the gasoline?
Well,
never knew that.
Our uniforms were wool, and it's kind of like dry cleaning.
Okay.
The smellier.
Yeah.
Had to air them out good after.
Hang them out to air them out good? Or?
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, it evaporated pretty fast. Oh, baby.
Did the smell linger?
No, it didn't.
No? Okay, good.
I was surprised.
Huh.
So was your barracks just a Nissen hut?
Yeah.
Was it cold?
It's shown in one of those pictures.
Is it?
Yeah. Where all was enlisted men were together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I brought to them. That's it.
Maybe here. Maybe there. Mountain.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
It had a big old potbelly stove right in the middle of it.
But it didn't keep you very warm, did it?
No, we had canvas cots and we slept. We had 3 blankets and what else? I used to sleep in my overcoat. It was cold in there.
We'll have to get Paul on that, see if he can figure out just from that tree where that's
Yeah.
He probably can. He probably can.
Our guy over there has been doing a wonderful job of taking pictures taken during the war.
Yeah.
And going back to the same spot,
Yeah.
taking a picture of what it looks like now.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Fine.
When you went out to your revetment, did
Yeah,
they
we
take you in
found
a truck?
my dad's revetment that way.
Sir?
Was matching it up. He said, no, move a little bit more this
Dear.
way. Take a picture. Yeah?
Did you go out to your revetment when you go on a mission in a truck?
No, yeah, we would. Yeah. Of course, our barracks was right on the airfield.
Yeah.
Real close. They had a Jeep that the CQ used to go around and wake up the crew and get them started going.
So I haven't looked, what month did you start flying missions in?
Hey, I've forgotten. It was in the,
I want to say
Probably-
November. Is that right?
Yeah.
it's after D-Day.
Right, okay. It's probably October, November. Did you do any of the gas haul missions?
No.
So you must have got there like after.
Yeah.
So they were taking off operations in September for about 3 weeks and made the fly gas to Patton for.
No, we didn't do that.
And no one got any credit for those missions, even though the
Yeah.
crews ended up getting shot down.
Yeah, that's
My
right.
dad was in on that. So.
Yeah. No, we never did fly that.
Can
So-
you describe what it was like in the airplane at 30 below zero?
It was cold. We'd take oranges with us and break it with a hammer and eat the orange like ice.
Wow. But you had to have everything covered or you get frostbite.
Oh yeah, we had silk gloves and leather gloves on top of that, and they had heat in them. Well, actually, we plugged in a 24-volt with a rheostat on it, and the jacket was connected to pants to the shoes, and let's see, the gloves were connected to the sleeves. So I forgot to plug my bottom part in on the first mission. I got real cold. I didn't get frostbite, but you can get frostbite real easy up there.
I would imagine. You learn that lesson fast. You don't plug something in there.
The silk gloves was to keep us from getting our hands stuck to the metal on the guns. If we had to work on the guns, we had to take the big gloves off.
Do you still have your leather jacket?
No, I haven't.
Did you have one though?
I wore it out.
You have it painted?
Yeah.
Tell me about your teeth.
Huh?
Teeth.
Oh, everything swelled up about 5 times at altitude. And if you had a leaky filling, it'd swell 5 times, you'd get a toothache.
Oh, wow.
So we went through the dentist line pretty often, checking. Sometimes we wouldn't even check them, just grind them out and replace them. So it kind of worked on our teeth a little bit.
I've never heard that before. That's
I
interesting.
heard that fascinated me when you told me.
How was the food?
Food, it was fair.
You get better food on mission days?
Yeah, you got to have your choice of breakfast.
Real eggs then?
Yeah,
Not much. So we did say you did have fruit, right? I guess you had oranges?
yeah,
Those were pretty scarce for the population, I think.
We had a lot of tea and trumpets.
Did you visit? Did you ever visit with any English families or ever in any of the houses?
No, but the radio operator did. We were landed in France one time, and he was. He thought he run the whole airplane, I think, and he didn't associate with us much. But he went with his French family, and I said, "How'd you get along?" He said, "Well, when they laughed, I laughed. I laughed too." Said I didn't understand what they're saying, but he was a sight. He wrote an article. I have it.
Okay.
If you want it, I can get you a copy of it.
Was that metallic?
Yeah.
Okay.
You'd think he'd run the airplane, but we were there with him.
It's real social.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't as close to us somehow or other as the rest of us.
His
were.
personality?
Well, he did.
Where was he from?
I don't know, but he wound up in Florida.
Out of Florida.
He was,
Was that McCallum?
yeah. He started a radio shop in Chicago, I believe, when we came home. And I believe he had 6 different places where he worked on radios.
Right.
And then he finally moved to Florida.
Well, he put his Air Force skills to work then.
Yeah. He died when he was 86 years old.
So did you have any contact with him after the war?
No, I never did.
What about the rest of the crew? Did any of you keep in touch?
Gentry and I did. He was a nose gunner, but I couldn't find Rudolph, and I still hadn't found him.
We can look for that.
He lived in Waukegan, Illinois, which is out from Chicago, I believe.
Look that up for you. I may have. I've put about 4,000 people into the database, so I'm sure I've looked them up.
Yeah.
So.
So you don't know if anybody's left alive other than you and the crew?
Ma'am,
You don't know if anybody else is left alive in the crew other than
I don't know of anybody that's alive. I can't find anybody on the computer or
Yeah.
the way you.
Yeah. My dad was second to the last.
You,
Tail gunner left.
tell us what you remember about Heligoland.
About what?
Heligoland.
Where the
That
flash-
island way up north in the North Sea.
I don't know much about that.
That's where the
Flak
flak batteries were just really, really bad.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody avoided them like the plague.
Oh, yeah. Well, flak was our biggest problem, really.
I don't think I've seen it.
Was anybody ever wounded on your crew?
No, I was sitting on a piece of harbor one time, and flak hit the bottom of the harbor. I felt it a little bit, but it didn't break skin.
Just sit up. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Did you sit on your flak vest?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I did. I had a plate glass window about that thick in front of me, and it protected my face and upper body.
I might be able to tell you here about Rudolph in a second.
Yeah.
Sidney was his first name.
So George Cowie was your navigator,
Yeah,
and Gentry was.
He was actually a Sperry Ball turret gunner, but they put him in the nose instead of the Sperry Ball.
How about your co-pilot? What kind of guy was he?
He was nice. I've even forgotten his name because he made first pilot after we flew a few missions.
Hillenmeyer?
Yeah, Hillenmeyer. And then George Cowie took his place.
Let me see here, Sidney Rudolph. I believe they're fairly famous because they were the last B-24 to be shot down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a tragic story, but he was a good-looking kid.
Mm-hmm.
One of the attacks I just did, and I can't remember which one, that's all out in the car, he was a witness to, I'm trying to think what his name is. It was from Maine. He was a witness also to Black Cat going down.
Yeah.
And Goodner went to school. When he enlisted, he was going to school at Western Kentucky University, or State College, which in Bowling Green, where my dad and where Earl lives.
Earl.
Yeah, so there's some connections there.
What were the circumstances that caused the crash?
Their wing got shot off. I mean, it shot off about between the engines, and the wing flew up, and they came toward us, but they barely missed us.
So, tell me about your pilot, Joseph Lee. What kind of guy was he?
He was a nice guy. He was 29 years old, and we were 19.
They didn't have a lot in common with.
We didn't have a lot in common with him, but he was a good pilot. We had bad night vision, and when we flew night, we didn't fly missions at night. We flew daytime, but we had to go to London and try to get out of the spotlights. They called them spotlight training, and he tried to land on the perimeter track one night, and we barely missed the north hangar. And our engineer put down full throttle and said, "Take off, you SOB."
Wow, that's a good story. So, were you guys, enlisted guys, close?
Oh yeah, we were kind of like brothers, really.
Yeah.
Did you have a best friend on the crew?
Yeah, Rudolph.
Rudolph, okay. And what position was he?
He was a waist gunner.
Okay.
Yeah. Now we went to the flak shack after 25 missions, and we played golf together.
Do you know where you went for
No, I know. It was somewhere in Ireland, I think.
Oh, wow. Huh.
It was an old building that looked kind of like a mansion, you know. And they had USO girls up there running it. And they entertained us for about a week.
Was it close to the sea?
No,
Okay.
no.
Because my dad was out in the Broads,
Oh,
in a house out in the Broads.
yeah.
How many missions do you think you'd flown when you went when they sent you there?
We flew actually 30 missions. we finished our tour about about a month or so before the war was over.
Now, you said you thought it was after about 25,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
They went, 25 for the Black House.
Yeah.
Over here, because it keeps...
So tell me about your, you remember your first mission?
Yeah, we went to Billfield. And I don't even know why. I don't even know why we bombed it.
There was a viaduct there that they kept trying to knock down.
Yeah, we went there twice, I know of.
I think 460.
I think everybody tried to get that. It's a bridge, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bridge. Yeah, that's a hard target for a bomber 25,000 feet in the air.
Oh yeah.
What were your feelings before you? Were you nervous? Were you scared? What was it like to take off on that first mission?
When you're 19, you don't have much fright.
Did you? So you were telling me before that Dresden was that your most memorable mission?
Yeah, and that was one of them. Another one was we hit a nitroglycerin dump. Of course, you feel bombs away. When the bombs go, the airplane lurches a little bit. And then when those nitroglycerin went off, we felt it again. We were about 20,000 feet in the air at the time.
Did you tell me again about Dresden, because we didn't get that on there.
Well, we thought we was going to Berlin. And right before we got to Berlin, we were diverted. And I never saw so many airplanes in my life. Us and the English Air Force was all, actually we wasn't supposed to bomb Dresden. It was supposed to be off limits.
Right.
And the Russians wanted us to bomb it, I understood. And we had incendiary bombs, and we bombed the marshalling yards to burn the cross ties out. And the English Air Force even joins us. And we destroyed about 15 square miles of Dresden. And we killed about 40,000 people, I guess. And that wasn't any fun, really.
No, I think that was that one's become fairly famous. So
Yeah.
you didn't make the decision though, so I don't.
Oh no,
you don't
no,
have
no.
No guilt there.
I just went along for the ride.
So did you ever see any German fighters on any of your missions?
Oh yeah, ME-109s, the Focke-Wulf 190s.
Did you fire your guns?
Yeah.
So what was scarier, fighters or flak?
Flak.
What was that?
Well, as the war went on, you didn't have as many fighters because they'd go up to train somebody, they'd get shot down. Germany is not a very big country anyhow. It's about the size of Texas, I think.
Right. I don't know if it's that big, yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
as
they had no place to train.
right.
I saw my first jet.
Did
It was
you?
the ME-262. We didn't know what it was. They said it didn't have any propellers.
And it was going pretty fast.
Yeah, and it was. It came up and flew with us.
But didn't try to shoot you down?
No. No.
So any other memorable missions for you?
Yeah. We tried to bomb the submarine pens in Kiel, and it just bounced off of it. It must have been 30 foot deep in concrete.
So you're flying in the tail, you could actually see where the bombs are landing, right?
Yeah. I'd see where we'd been.
Did you ever fly any other position in the plane where you're always the tail gunner?
I was always tail gunner.
And you saw some pretty horrific things then if you're in the tail gun. You see the guys
Yeah.
Behind you?
I saw all the squadrons behind us and everything.
So you saw a lot of planes go down,
Oh, yeah.
including, I guess, Farrington and the Goodner's crew were
Yeah.
flying right beside you or right behind you?
They were beside us. They were on our wing.
Okay.
Were you outside the plane?
Oh.
Your turret area, your area, were you outside the
Well, I could turn around and fall out. I had a parachute on a string tied to me.
Did they have any, late in the war, some of those newer B-24s, I guess, did they do away with the turret? Did you ever fly in one of those? Or just the handheld guns?
No.
Or did you always have a turret?
I always had a turret. Now we had electric turrets in the front and hydraulic. Well, they had some hydraulic turrets in the front called consolidated.
Right.
And then we had a electric, not in the tail, but had some of them in the nose.
But the turret's not big enough to get a parachute into, right? You can't.
No, I always had it behind me. And I had my shoes and my parachute tied together.
Do you ever put it on?
No.
Did you practice getting in and out of the turret fast?
Well, no, not really.
No.
We got out fast when we made a crash landing after Dresden.
Oh, tell us about that.
Well, we just shot up pretty bad. We didn't have any brakes or any flaps, or we didn't have much of anything but some motors. And they wouldn't let us come home. We had to go to an emergency landing strip to land, and we had no right landing gear. The nose wheel we had to put down manually, and when we hit the ground, it ground looped. Sparks started flying. He asked us if we wanted to bail out, and we said no. We'll go with you. So we got in the tail, in the back. There's a half deck back there, and we put our backs against it and joined our arms. And when we hit the ground, and when the sparks started flying, we got out immediately. We went out the bottom hatch.
So I guess the plane was a write-off, wasn't it?
What?
The plane. Do you remember which plane it was that you were in that day?
We was in an OD plane.
Okay.
It didn't have any markings on it except the tail.
Did you have a favorite plane?
Favorite? Yeah. This above all was our favorite
That was
plane.
your favorite, okay.
Yeah.
So where was it that you then crash landed?
Ma'am?
Were you in France or?
No, we were in England.
You got as far as it?
It was an emergency landing strip.
Okay.
Manston and Woodbridge.
Yeah.
Really long
You
runway.
crash landed more than one time.
Well, we run off the end of the runway the other time.
That wasn't just well.
It wasn't exactly a crash, but it was
Just
called.
landed too long, or what?
Well, it was a short runway, and we didn't get stopped in time.
Was it at Attlebridge?
Yeah.
Just wanted to, not the main runway.
Well, we had one short runway at Attlebridge. If we took off on it, we'd have to sit there and run all of our engines up as hard as they go, and then release the brakes and go to get off of the ground.
Now, I've always wondered this, when you would take off, would you get in the turret before takeoff?
Most of the time, yeah.
Okay. And would you land back there too if you weren't crashing?
I had a light back there. If it's foggy, I'd flash it so the people
Okay.
behind
That
could
was
see
the
us.
other bit. You had to flash it.
Uh-huh.
So you would land back there too?
Yeah.
Save the turret for landing?
Yeah. Except when we crashed.
Now, do you ever remember being followed home by German fighters?
No. But those ATS girls on those pom-pom stations used to shoot at us in England. We'd give them identification, friend, and phone, and they'd still shoot at us. But luckily, they weren't very good.
So you were there through the winter,
Yes.
and it was a really bad winter.
Yeah.
A lot of
Mhm.
snow, a lot of ice.
Yeah. Hmm.
So tell us a little bit about like forming up in that kind of weather.
Well, you had to be very careful because it was foggy a lot. Matter of fact, we were fogged in for 12 days at one time. And on the 13th day, we took off, and we made it okay.
That probably was that might have been as frightening as actual mission. It was trying to get up out of the fog, right?
Yeah.
Because all these hundreds
Yeah.
of other planes are doing the same thing.
Yeah. Now, we had a bottom turret, ball turret, but we didn't use it. As a matter of fact, I think they put some radar in some of them in that position.
So
Yeah.
did your flight engineer, did he man a gun, or was he strictly in the cockpit with flight?
He stood between the pilot and co-pilot. And it's his job to aid them in whatever he needed to do. Like the night he said, "Take off, you SOB."
What did you get up to around the Attlebridge when you weren't flying? Did you have to do a lot of training and stuff, or?
We had to shoot skeet a lot,
Okay.
which simulated firing a gun at a moving target. And then training, we actually shot from a 6x6 truck going around the oval track.
Really?
Yeah, they'd shoot the thing at us. We'd have to shoot it with a shotgun.
Yeah, that's why New York
A
City.
Sayun, he lived in Brooklyn, and his mother was, what was she? She wasn't Arab. She's
Yeah, I was gonna say.
They-
Lebanese or something,
They
right?
lived right off the East River, and they had a victory garden hanging out the window,
Wow.
and you could see the East River way down there. We said, "What do you do for entertainment?" And he said, "We rob delicatessens." He said, "Let's go down to the ownership." I said, "What's the ownership?" He said, "Where we keep our car down at the garage." And he took us out to, what was that? Park,
Coney Island?
Coney Island. He took us to Coney Island about 80 miles an hour.
And he passed away in 1981. He was young
Yeah.
in Ocala, Florida.
He had the scabies when they came back, and they wouldn't let him go home for a while.
So how did you come back? Did you come back on a ship, a Liberty ship?
No, we flew back as a crew, and we brought the ground crewmen with us.
Did you?
Yeah,
Because it was just about the end of the war, wasn't it, when you finished?
yeah, it was close.
Did,
Actually, the end of the war was when we got back to Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Okay.
what was your emotion when you had heard that the bomb had been dropped?
I didn't have much emotion. I liked to see where they went.
So when the war was over, did you think you were, what did they tell you were going to do when you went home? You were going to go train for B-29s, or what was the plan?
Well, we were supposed to go train for B-29s. Yeah.
Were you staying with the 466, or were they transferring?
No, it dissolved. There was no longer there.
So when did you muster out?
In November of 45, I guess.
Did you give any thought to staying in?
Yeah, one of the captains tried to get me to stay in and go to OCS, and I won't go home.
So what was your post-war career?
Well, I worked at Oak Ridge for a couple of years as a chemical operator. And then I went back to UT and got an electrical engineering degree. And I worked for the Knoxville Utilities Board for 30 years. And then I retired.
That's all right. I know some engineers from UT. In my job, I deal with a lot of, mainly mechanical engineers.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time talking to engineers, especially design engineers.
Yeah. We had a lot of mechanical studies. I mean, we could go either way. After you get to be a junior, you have to
But the guy
major.
I work with here in Knoxville, actually, I've got a rep in Knoxville who played basketball for UT and got
Yeah.
his mechanical engineering degree.
Yeah.
Back in the early 80s.
Oh, we played against UT freshmen when I was in high school.
Did you really?
Yeah, played against one of our old basketball players. Who's on the, he wasn't on the varsity squad, but he was 1 year down from it.
So you said you'd gotten married before you went over, right?
Yeah.
And was your wife was able to move around with you?
Yeah, we went to Texas, and, South Carolina. When I came home, we went to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. She worked in one of the meat packing plants up there. Cudahy, I believe it was.
Okay.
There was two of them. I forgot the other one.
What did you do in Sioux Falls?
Nothing. waited to see what they wanted me to do.
Didn't do any more flying or anything?
No,
Where was your mustering out?
I mustered out in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
South Dakota.
Oh, they sent me to New York to school to learn how to make out the papers for the guys that was mustering out.
Oh, okay.
And I was supposed to stay there a month, and after 2 weeks they called us back and we started mustering people out. And I wrote my own papers about a week later because I was eligible. So I got out real fast.
Yeah, one point I wanted to go over because I didn't hear. When you went over to England, where did your ship land?
In Ireland.
Yeah, it landed in Ireland.
Probably Belfast, I would say.
Okay, and then from there, did they take you by ship to across the channel, or I mean across to England?
No,
Scotland,
They fly you?
Go to Scotland?
we were in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
So there was a base there. Did you do some school there for a week or two?
No,
No.
we went straight down to Attlebridge. We went in Attlebridge and about 12 o'clock at night and everything was blacked out. You couldn't see your hand in front of your face. And it was tough getting around like that.
You remember any of your officers?
Yeah, our officers.
Yeah.
I remember Major Jacobovich, I believe his name. We called him Major Jake. He was head of the 466.
What did you think of him?
He was a nice guy.
There's very mixed opinions about him.
Yeah.
There's people who don't care for him.
He was pretty tough.
Yeah. He became a doctor after the war.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. So
I didn't know what happened to him.
That's interesting since he had such I guess a little bit abrasive personality at times.
Yeah.
I wonder what his bedside manner was like.
Maybe didn't have one.
Yeah.
A lot of the old doctors didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he was strict, but he was fair. I thought.
he was in a plane that flying as a command pilot that had already landed and another plane ran into him and almost took his feet off.
Oh, no
It
kidding.
knocked the nose off the plane right up to the control panel in front of the pilot. So
I think he flew one mission with us.
did he?
Yeah. I've forgotten who he flew with now. Captain Evans, he was a hot pilot. He thought, and when they finished his missions, they buzzed the field, they buzzed the tower, and they made him stay a while before they let him get out.
That's funny.
He was a character. Everybody liked him though.
Do you remember any of the priests or the padre or the
We had chaplain.
chaplain?
Yeah.
Did they come around before you flew?
Yeah, sometimes they did. Sometimes we'd know where we're going because that old lady over there talked on the radio. Well, they welcomed us to Europe when we got there. Welcome to Lee's crew. I know where you're going tomorrow. It's kind of like the one in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
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 Work people want me to work today. I don't know why. Yeah, a lot of crews that got shot down were always shocked at what the interrogators already knew about them.
Yeah.
You know, where they were from,
Yeah.
what plane they flew, and all of that
Yeah.
stuff. So it makes you wonder.
Some of the things I'm telling you, you knew about.
Well, it makes you wonder how they knew all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does.
No, they welcomed us by name. Lee's crew.
What was life on the base like when you were down?
Boring. We had they called it, an aero club. It was run by the USO, I guess. They had table tennis and stuff like that in there. And they had dances occasionally.
We had a fairly long duty there with being there over the winter because you couldn't hardly fly, from what I've read in January.
We had
You
one.
kind of just sat there.
We had a stretch of 12 days we couldn't even get off the ground.
So that kind of stretched it out a
Yeah.
lot longer.
We were throwing the bolo knives at a decent hut one afternoon, and Captain Major Jake come around. What are you boys doing? We was trying to entertain ourselves.